Many of you know Archbishop Robert Carlson, who is our retired bishop for the Archdiocese. He was the 2013 recipient of the Newman Award from the CSC, so obviously somebody who has some history with us all, obviously somebody who loves the CSC very much. And I had the privilege of not only being ordained by Archbishop Carlson, but living with him in my first mansion in 2015 through 2017, and really just a good man, a parish priest that became a bishop, somebody who really didn't govern so much with a strong fist as he did outstretched hands, asking the Lord to show him how best to lead us as a people. And he always just kind of was somebody that I looked up to with appreciation. He's turning 81 tomorrow, so I just sent him a little text, happy birthday. And as I was thinking about him and just what he's meant for me, I remembered with this gospel, one of the times many times that I put my foot in my mouth when talking with him or being around him, learning from him. We were getting ready for a mass at the cathedral, and one of the servers is helping vest, and I'm just kind of standing in the corner, and I said, hey, this is kind of like that gospel, John 21, like when you're older, like someone will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. And the look that I got, I'm really happy I'm not assigned to Siberia after that, but it was more of a glare than it was a loving glance at a son. So but it just made me think, because here is the Archbishop who's the successor to the Apostle Peter and Paul, right? That all of these apostles, as they continue to hand down the faith, they use humble men like this guy from the suburbs of Minneapolis, St. Paul, to lead us. And I think that these men, many of them being good, are really, I think, in some ways, just tragically sad when there are bad shepherds. When there are shepherds that do not faithfully lead us. And sadly, both in the U.S. and across the world, we've had examples of that as well, where we've seen people that have used their power not in any way to lead closer to the Lord, but have sometimes even squandered that power, and they've led the sheep astray, or they've hurt the sheep. And I think we need to continue as a church just to be mindful of that. Not that we have to talk about it every Sunday, but just to be aware of those things and to be able to say sorry. And also to continue to pray for our shepherds that they might continue to be like Peter and Paul, good examples of the faith. There's something interesting to me about that gospel where we see Peter with Jesus. It's after the resurrection, but it's also after that betrayal. Remember Peter, Simon Peter, right before Jesus dies, denies that he knows him 3 times, denies that he is able to have a relationship with or loves this one who he spent the last 3 years with. And he lays down his life after the multiplication of the fish, all those fish that were caught, to seeing miracle after miracle, and then to say, I do not know you, because he was afraid of what that might mean for his own life. And then here on the shore, Jesus asks a very simple question. He's not being mean. He's not trying to manipulate Peter at all. He's not even trying to make him feel bad about himself, but he's desirous to know, do you love me? We hear Peter was distressed. There's different understandings of what that means, that he lowered, maybe in Greek, he lowered the level of love that he was requiring, and that's part of why Peter was distressed at this moment. But I would say that for Peter, I really feel like he's us in a lot of ways. Because he's bold in his faith. He sings Alleluia. He tries to live it out. He tries to be a good follower of the Lord. But then there's moments where it butts up against his level of comfort, and he gets scared. And he says, I do not know him. He reverts back, no longer Peter, but back into Simon, the guy that's trying to do it by himself on the seashore. And for us, I think the invitation is to continue to notice those moments where the Lord is inviting us to answer the question, do you love me? Do you love me enough to trust me in this tough teaching? Do you love me enough to trust me when your family's falling apart? Do you love me enough to be able to be with me in these circumstances when the world is falling apart, the world is going through calamity? Are you able to see me through all the noise? Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Yes, Lord, you know that I'm with you. And yes, Lord, you know that I'm going to keep tripping and stumbling and uncertain and afraid, but I don't have to do it alone. I get to do it with you. You and I get to do these things together. You, Lord, get to teach me how it is that you want me to serve. Paul is the same way. Paul, who was this righteous Pharisee who had it all figured out, and starts stomping on these Christians, literally with his feet, stoning them to death or orchestrating their death because he will not tolerate this any longer. He will not tolerate this faction. We thought we killed Jesus, and now they're saying he's risen, and all these people are talking about it. Enough. But Saul, as he was before, in his hardness of heart, had to experience the love of Jesus. And as he did, and as he was baptized, he realized that I don't want to live my life apart from him. And in fact, I'm willing to pour myself out like a libation. What I think we forget when we hear in the second reading that Paul is pouring himself out as a libation, that he's willingly emptying himself, is that we're never going to have the well run dry. We're always able to pour out if we're doing it with Jesus. I'm not saying overschedule your stuff. You're probably already overscheduled. But if you're recognizing, oh gosh, it's hard for me to be loving in this situation. It's hard for me to love this person ever. Okay, Lord, help me to pour out. But pour out what? Pour out my love that I've received from you, knowing that the well will never run dry. And that's how Paul's able to write these letters to all of these communities. And he writes some tough stuff in there, but he also writes with an ardent heart. He loves his people, and that's why he's sending them messages from across the globe. That's why he's willing to be shipwrecked or stoned himself or beaten or imprisoned. And I think maybe for us, if we look at obedience as one thing that's important to follow, but if we look as children of God to receive the love first, that'll help us to do whatever it is that the Lord is asking us to do. Because that's how Peter and Paul end up going to Rome. That's how Paul ends up willingly being beheaded, even though that would not have been his preference. But he does so because he loves the Lord. And his great witness, we're talking about him today. It's also why Peter is able to go and be crucified upside down, because he didn't think that he was worthy of being crucified the way that Jesus was. But it's also why, as they dumped his body in the back corner of this thing called the Vaticanus, or the swamp, that we still notice it today as a great sign of faith for us. So maybe for us, maybe recognizing how it is that the Lord is trying to love us, how it is that he's trying to use us, and where it is that he wants to go with us. Maybe if we can do these things and ask Peter and Paul for their intercession, their help, maybe we'll continue to see the church grow, and we'll continue to see more and more people shepherding in the name of the Lord. And even if it's places we don't want to go or circumstances that we don't want to find ourselves in, we know that we won't find ourselves alone, that Jesus will always be with us.